The world is drastically changing and will continue to change immensely over the next 15 to 30 years. The income gap between the middle class and the rich continues to widen and increase in both Canada and the US. Unless people start to do something aggressively about it now, chances are they'll be left behind. This is Untold Reasons of Why You're Actually Poor. Chances are, if you clicked on this video, well, you're having some financial difficulties with money, most likely. You're probably smart, you're a hard worker, you do know about money despite what you tell yourself, but you just need a nudge in the right direction. If you're new to this channel, I'm Aaron, a 20-year corporate accountant and analyst. I've worked with top-level executives, CEOs, millionaires, some of which I consider friends. And I've learned from some of them, and I want to share them with you. They just have a different mindset than the people that I've interacted with in the middle class, some of my other friends. I've noticed that some of their mentalities and the way they think about money is just different than most people are taught. So let's just jump right into it. Number one, programmed consumers, nothing more. Ever since the Model T rolled out the assembly line, Henry Ford, the 1920s, people have been trained to be solely consumers, right? When something happens, we're told, don't panic, continue to go out and buy and spend your money just as always. And that's considered happy and healthy and normal. However, millionaires just have a different mindset. They don't see their habits as, well, I have to spend in order to enjoy my life. They always carefully consider, how can I enhance and grow my wealth? What can this offer me long term? Whereas many people just think of short-term gratification. I don't know what it is, but I need it. I want it now in an instant because this will make me happy in the moment. But they forget about their future self. Millionaires don't. They're always thinking long-term and have a strategy and plan in place. That way, when recessions hit or the tariff dilemma that we're all going through right now, well, the rich and upper class usually handle it better than the middle class because they are more financially prepared. It's not just because of their money. Primarily, that is the main factor, but it's because of their strategy. Right now, as we speak, 1 in 5 Canadians are worried about losing their job. Well, mainly because of these tariffs and the dilemmas it's creating with businesses, right? Trying to survive and deal with these increases in prices. And also, on the flip side, 1 in 5 Canadians are thinking about leaving their jobs, kind of getting out of there and saying, well, take this job and shove it, so to speak. However, do you ever wonder how you always hear about, well, when recessions hit, millionaires and the wealthy usually do okay, if not great. However, come prosperity and booms, well, then they do exceptionally well. It's because they're preparing for these fluctuations, which the middle class usually just isn't equipped to handle. Usually because their finances aren't properly planned and mapped out. Rich people just adopt a different mentality, thinking, whatever happens, I can handle and control this. Leading into the second point. Number two, mindset and their internal locus of control. There are two different types of people in the world. The first is, well, they consider everything just kind of happens to them. They have no control over their fate, what's going to happen in their finances, where they're going to be in 5-10 years. They have no long-term plan. And these are the people that you usually see purchasing lottery tickets, right? Like I'm talking lots, like hundreds of dollars a month, because, well, they figure that's the only way that I am ever going to become wealthy is through
If you
luck.
really want something in this life, you have to work for it. Now quiet, they're about to announce the lottery numbers.
However, the second set of people, some of my millionaire friends and just the rich in general, well, usually they've adopted a different mindset called the internal locus of control, where they believe they are primarily in control of their future and they shape and determine what happens to them. And if something pops up that they weren't expecting, well, they can quickly turn that around, or the obstacle is just temporary, something to be overcome, a challenge to be met. They face it usually head on. And I'll give you a prime, recent, relevant example of this very thing. You may or may not have heard of this, but the Canada is not for sale movement. So when Canada was proposed by Donald Trump to become the 51st state of America, and Canada was having so many foreign investors and buyers coming in, scooping up homes, pricing out local families, well, this one guy, just an average Joe, decided, I'm not going to vent, I'm not going to whine, I'm not going to complain and say it's the policymakers, everybody else. I'm going to sit up, and he did something very bold about it. He started printing t-shirts and hats that said Canada is not for sale. No corporate funding, no political backing, just a message people resonated with. Before long, it became a recognizable grassroots statement, something people wore proudly as a form of protest and pride. What's powerful here is the mindset. He didn't just sit around hoping someone else would speak up. He turned an idea into a product into a message, and a message into a movement. That's the definition of internal locus of control. You see a problem, and instead of waiting for luck or a system to fix it, you take action and become part of the solution.
Well, Canada's not for sale. Just buying a nation and forcing it into annexation is absolutely absurd.
Number 3, long-term insight. When you see something you want and you're like, well, I really should buy that thing. It's only $90, why not? Really consider these 2 factors before you make that purchase. Number 1, what's that item really going to cost you? Really, think of it in hours worked. So if the item costs $90 and you make, say, $22 an hour after taxes, well, you'll have to work about 4 hours just to pay for that one item that might just sit on your shelf, or a new 8th, 9th sweater. So is it really worth it? And that sweater, the thing you're buying, whatever it is, that comes out after all your other expenses are paid, or it's going on a credit card, and then you end up paying even more for it. So really consider, am I willing to work 3 or 4 hours just to be able to wear or afford this item? And number 2, you're saying yes to yourself now, in the moment, receiving instant gratification. However, you're saying no to your future self, because if you took that money and invested it, well, think of what it would have grown into, obviously, right? And I'll give you an example of this very thing. I bought a car years and years ago, right? I was young and it was new, but it was on clearance, and I paid $16,000 for it. And with it, I wanted new rims, customized rims, not the rims, factory rims that came with the car. I wanted brand new rims for it, $1,100. And I'm already paying $16,000 for it. What's $1,100 more? Sure, why not? Okay, but if I had invested that $1,100 over 20 years, that would be approximately $8,373 at 7%. So, well, I could have $8,000 plus now, in 20 years, or, well, those rims I have instead that are old, rusted, and I don't know, I probably have to give them away to somebody to get rid of them. Like, they're gone, the money's spent. So, well, I really hope I enjoy those rims that I don't even want now. Number 4, your most prized asset you have to offer. Everybody wants a piece of this, including myself, and especially your employer. Your time.
Come on, man, time is money.
Your employer will always take whatever time you can offer them. So extra overtime, weekends, whatever it may be. And you're working so hard and long hours sometimes, trying to get ahead, get that raise, promotion, whatever it may be. And so if you eventually, after years and years of hard work and effort, you increase revenue substantially, or you decrease expenses drastically, you may one day receive a fraction of the benefit you generate for the company. Just maybe. No guarantees though. You just might get a small return if your boss's boss decides, well, you're finally worthy.
Yes, Mr. Scrooge?
This is the corporate trap.
It's a trap
that many people fall into, right? Work hard and make somebody else rich, even though you're kind of on the side going broke. You're going home just like I was years ago. You're tapped out, you're dead, you have no energy left because you've given 150% at work. Now I'm all for effort, putting in hard work, and being somewhat devoted to a company, right? There's nothing wrong with that. However, killing yourself at work or thinking, I just might get ahead. If this guy gets ultra wealthy, I might see a tiny fraction of that for myself. You are far better off channeling your time, effort, and energy into something more fruitful and lucrative, such as time with your family, a side hustle, whatever it may be. You'll find that you only have so much time and energy to offer, and your employer will respect you more if you set up and establish clear boundaries and say, well, I will work hard at times, but there's a limit on what my time is because my time is valuable. In case you're new to my channel, I'm Aaron, a 20-year corporate accountant and analyst living in Western Canada. I talk about personal finance, investing, and investment portfolios. I've been investing for almost 2 decades now, and I've been in the corporate world for about 3. So I think it's safe to say I know what I'm talking about. If this sounds like something you'd be interested in, consider subscribing to my channel. Number 5, the growing wealth divide. The trickle-down effect that you may or may not have heard of simply doesn't work, and is becoming more and more evident over the last few decades. Trickle-down economics is the idea that giving tax breaks and financial advantages to the wealthy or big businesses will eventually benefit everyone. because the money will trickle down through job creation and investment. But in reality, it rarely works that way. Instead of reinvesting into workers or the local economy, the wealthy often use those benefits to grow their own assets through stock buybacks, real estate, or tax shelters. The result? Wealth continues to concentrate at the top, wages for the middle class remain relatively stagnant, and the cost of living continues to rise for everyone else. Leading into the next point. Number 6, unreasonable compensation. In the 1970s, the average CEO made approximately 30 to 40 times what the average worker made in salary. Fast forward to 2025, and now the average CEO's salary has just exploded. Now, it's not uncommon for a CEO to make 300 to 400 times what the average worker makes. So to put that into context, if you made $60,000 a year and a CEO made $20 million a year, which is pretty standard, I've heard of that, that is 1,000 times that worker's salary in inflation-adjusted terms. In other contexts, a person would have to work 300 to 400 years to make what one CEO makes in just 1 year alone. Isn't that something? Now, I've worked with CEOs and know many of them, and they do have a different mindset, are under a lot of stress, and have a lot of education and experience under their belt. However, I do think a reasonable cap should be set. However, as of right now, there's no motivation for anyone or incentive to set a cap. So CEOs are going to continue to be paid outrageous salaries. Well, how does this affect you? Well, indirectly, because there's only so much money in circulation. So this decreases the amount available for everybody else. And when a recession hits, or if the government has to do quantitative easing, well, usually they own assets. So when quantitative easing happens, this increases their net worth even more. So you, in a sense, get more poor. As more corporate profits are funneled to top executives and shareholders, less is left for wage growth, benefits, and job security for the average worker, deepening income inequality and hollowing out the middle class. The 1950s and 1960s were some of the happiest, most prosperous, best time for both Canadians and Americans. And there's a reason behind it, and I believe, well, net incomes, expenses were more adjacent, in line, and we didn't have such a large gap between the middle and the upper class, the ultra wealthy, right? There was no such things as multi-billionaires. I remember hearing about Oprah, and at the time she had like 200 million 20, 30 years ago, and that was considered a lot of money. Now, if you look at 200-300 million and compare it to the ultra wealthy, well, that's nothing, right? We got multi-billionaires out in existence, and there's only so much money to go around. I believe there are few options out of this dilemma, but for one to educate themselves, shift their mindset, and try to get out through investing and proper financial planning. And that's exactly what I teach about on my channel. If this all sounds like something you'd be interested in, consider subscribing to my channel. And if you're interested in creating a strong, robust investment portfolio, you might want to check out this next video here.